The year is 480 BC. Imagine a world without Google, without cars, without electricity. This is ancient Greece, a land of city-states and fierce warriors. But a storm is brewing in the east. The Persian Empire, vast and powerful, has set its sights on Greece. Their leader is Xerxes, a king who demands absolute obedience. Xerxes seeks to crush the Greeks and add their lands to his empire. He has amassed a massive army, unlike anything the world has ever seen. Their goal to extinguish the flame of Greek freedom. The Greeks are divided. Some city-states choose to submit to Xerxes, others decide to fight for their freedom. The fate of Greece hangs in the balance. The Persian army was a force of nature. Imagine a sea of soldiers stretching as far as the eye could see. Hundreds of thousands strong, they marched towards Greece. Their numbers seemed endless, their power unmatched. Leading them was Xerxes, the Persian king. He sat upon a golden throne, watching his army advance. He believed himself to be a god king, destined to rule the world. Xerxes had vowed to crush anyone who dared to defy him. The Persian army was a diverse force. It included soldiers from all corners of the empire. They carried a variety of weapons, bows and arrows, spears, swords and axes. The ground trembled beneath their feet. The air was thick with the smell of sweat and dust. In the face of this overwhelming threat, one city-state stood defiant: Sparta. The Spartans were renowned for their martial prowess. They were warriors from birth, trained from childhood to fight and die for their city. Discipline and obedience were ingrained in their very being. Their leader was King Leonidas, a fearless warrior and a shrewd strategist. He knew that facing the Persians in an open battle would be suicide. The Spartans were outnumbered, but they had one advantage: courage. They would make the Persians pay for every inch of Greek soil. Leonidas gathered 300 of his finest Spartan warriors. Each man was a veteran of many battles. Their loyalty to Sparta and to each other was unbreakable. They knew they were marching towards certain death, but they showed no fear. For a Spartan, there was no greater glory than to die in service to their city. Leonidas chose to make his stand at a narrow pass called Thermopylae, the Hot Gates. This pass was a strategic choke point. High cliffs rose on either side, leaving only a narrow strip of land for the armies to clash. The Greeks knew this terrain well. It would force the Persians to attack in smaller numbers, negating their numerical advantage. At Thermopylae, bravery and strategy would be their shields. The Spartans arrived at Thermopylae and began to prepare their defenses. They repaired the old Phocian wall, a crumbling fortification that would help to bottleneck the Persian advance. They sharpened their swords and spears, ready to face the coming storm. The first wave of the Persian attack crashed upon the Spartan lines like a tidal wave. The ground shook with the force of their charge, but the Spartans held firm, their shields interlocked, forming a wall of bronze and flesh. The Spartans fought with unmatched ferocity. They repelled wave after wave of Persian attacks. The narrowness of the pass neutralized the Persian advantage in numbers. The Persian soldiers, used to open battlefields, were cut down in droves. For 2 days, the Spartans held the pass against overwhelming odds. The Persians suffered heavy losses. Xerxes, watching from his golden throne, was enraged. He had not anticipated such fierce resistance. He had underestimated the Spartans' courage and their skill. But the Persians had a secret weapon: treachery. A local shepherd, Ephialtes, betrayed the Greeks. He revealed to Xerxes a hidden goat path that led behind the Spartan lines. Xerxes dispatched a force of his elite troops, the Immortals, to take the path. Their mission: to encircle the Spartans and attack from the rear. The Spartans were now caught in a deadly trap. Leonidas received news of the betrayal. He knew that he was facing certain defeat, but he refused to abandon his post. He would hold the pass for as long as possible, giving the other Greek forces time to retreat. Leonidas dismissed the majority of the Greek army, sending them south for safety. He remained at Thermopylae with his 300 Spartans and a small contingent of Thespian volunteers. They knew they were marching to their deaths, but they would fight with honor to the very end. The final assault began at dawn. The Persians, emboldened by their impending victory, surged forward. The Spartans, outnumbered and surrounded, fought with the fury of cornered lions. Leonidas, the Spartan king, fought with unmatched bravery. He fell in the thick of the battle, pierced by a shower of Persian arrows. The Spartans fought over their king's body, determined to prevent it from falling into enemy hands. One by one, the Spartan warriors fell. They were overwhelmed by sheer numbers, but their sacrifice was not in vain. Their stand at Thermopylae bought precious time for the other Greek city-states to regroup and prepare for the coming fight. The Battle of Thermopylae became a symbol of courage, discipline, and unwavering dedication to freedom. It showed the world that even a small force can hold back a mighty army if they have the will to fight for what they believe in. The Spartans at Thermopylae may have lost the battle, but their story inspired the Greeks to ultimately win the war. Their sacrifice echoed through the ages, reminding the world that freedom is worth fighting for, even in the face of overwhelming odds.